going off a hill, feeling adventurous. I come down the hill, hit a jump, land on my side, and hear a snap, my leg. Today I'm going to be talking about skiing and the risk and reward. So growing up, I used to ski with my family a couple times a year. We'd go up to Boyne Highlands and have a good time, stay up usually 1 to 2 times a year, and stay up for a few nights. I was introduced to skiing at a young age. Around like 7 or 8, I started skiing. And then it's something I've always shared with my family and been passionate about. It's just like a great bonding experience and a lot of fun. So then skiing with friends, I would go to a ski club at my old school up at Mount Holly, and we would go about every Friday. Me and my friends, we'd bring some of my friends from other schools too, and it was just a lot of fun. Like we would go up, eat pizza, and just have a good time. My love for skiing, this was a way to bond with family and friends. It was a lot of fun, like learning to ski, growing, strengthening my bonds with my friends and everyone around me. In 2nd grade, my mom relayed the love of skiing onto me, and since she grew up skiing, she went to Vail for a year in college. She would go skiing every day. She was the one who taught me how to ski and kind of ignited my love for the sport. Then I joined ski club and would go up every weekend, just strengthening my love for the sport. I got better at it every time I went. And then a lot of my friends skied or snowboarded. Basically everyone I knew would go up, and so it's just a lot of fun. And then risk and reward in skiing. During skiing, you go off jumps if you want to, and those can be dangerous. The bigger the jump, the more dangerous it will be, and it's hard landing and getting used to the flying through the air and going down fast. Then in 2nd grade, I broke my leg skiing. I was coming down a hill pretty fast. I hit the jump. I kind of misjudged the landing. I landed on my side and my ski came and smashed into my leg and caused it to snap. So then I was in a cast for 8 to 10 weeks, and when I was hitting the jump, I was just thinking about having fun. I didn't really consider the possibility of anything going wrong or me potentially getting hurt. And so basically every day you're putting yourself at risk, doing everyday activities. Even right now, you are potentially at risk. And then it is important to analyze the risk-reward when doing anything significant. Obviously, if it's something small, you don't have to think that much about it, but if it's a pretty big thing, you're going to want to look in depth to it. And then if no one risked anything, nothing would ever be accomplished. It's hard to move forward if you're afraid of failure. So it's important not to be afraid of failure and not let that hold you back. So then, is it worth it? Generally, there are 2 extremes to risk taking. There are the people who always are taking huge risks, always keeping their reward at the front of their vision. And there are the people who will never risk anything, always play it safe. And although you fall into either one of these extremes, and then the bigger risk is usually the bigger reward. But falling into either of these extremes, it's best to find a soft spot in the middle. You're not going for everything. You would consider robbing a bank for that big of a reward. But you also wouldn't be afraid to try something new, do a new experience. And then you don't want to screw everything up for yourself by taking too big of risks. It's just overall good to have everything kind of balanced. Then you cannot let fear control you. Fear usually causes you to overestimate the risk involved in something. If you're afraid, you'll think it's a higher chance that something goes wrong. An example of this would be public speaking. Even though the only thing that can really go wrong is you could get embarrassed, this is a lot of people's #1 fears. But even though they're afraid to public speak, people will not hesitate to get in a car, and there are car crashes daily. And people may be afraid to public speak, but there's such a small chance of dying in a car crash. It's about 1 in 606 cars. and that's less than 0.002%. So if that's your percent chance of dying in a car crash, and public speaking is not that big of a deal. Then we have logic versus emotion. A lot of successful people have had to take risks, but they have been smart while doing it, have been analyzing, and they know it's the difference between living an ordinary and an extraordinary lifestyle. And it's important to analyze before taking a risk just to make sure that you have everything planned out, and you can't let emotion affect your decision making, because when you're emotional, you're more likely to make rash decisions that you might regret in the future. Applying this to your life, every day you should try to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, whether that's like trying a new food or just like doing something you've always wanted to do. It's important to not stay in like a small bubble, but to expand on yourself. This does not have to be anything too big. It's important to broaden your horizons, like shift gears, try new things, and stuff like that. Why we need risk reward? Without risk, there is no reward. It's important to try to do something than not try to do anything at all. After analyzing the risk and reward, if you feel confident about it, you know what's going to happen, you think it will be worth it, then it's important you should go out and try it. If you fail, everything will still be okay if you're prepared. And here I have a quote coming up. It's about most men and women I know who have been successful in business. It's because they've been willing to take on risky challenges that other people say, oh, I'm not sure I want to do that. This is from Sandra Peterson, the CEO of a $10 billion company. So she's been around a lot of successful people, and so she kind of knows how people have become successful, what they've had to do, what risks they've had to take, and what to do if you run into the risk. When I broke my leg, I didn't let it stop me from skiing. The next year I went back up, got back into skiing. I was a little safer this time, but I didn't let it slow me down that much. And then for me, the risk reward was not worth it because I was in a cast for about 8 to 10 weeks, very limited in what I could do, and the jump wasn't fun enough for 10 weeks of solitude. And then I continued skiing and was less reckless just because I didn't want another injury. Then when you fail, if one thing goes badly for you, that doesn't mean you should stop taking risks. You have to keep going, get back up. This only means that you're human. Nobody's perfect. You just have to get back up and try again. Like, one mistake does not define who you are as a person. It's about how you get back up, stay strong, and keep going after that. So then take a risk.